The following video is going to show you how to make this pleated mask with ties, nose wire, and a vertical filter pocket. And yes, that is snow behind me. This is a crazy time right now. Enjoy the video and please keep sewing. Thank you. I'll show you how to make a pleated face mask that has a vertical pocket for your filter, a nose wire so it fits nicely on your face, and then the ties that we have heard lots of feedback, and the ties are really good because it's kind of more of an instant fit on your head. The ties should be, when you finish, approximately 20 inches from the top of the mask up, and that's enough to go over your head. And then depending on how big your mask is, it's going to be anywhere from 13 to 15 inches long at the bottom. But that has a little bit less to have to go around, so that's okay. The 20 at the top is super important though, because you might be wearing a hat or your hair may be up, so you really want to give enough length for the top of the head. Okay, so we're going to get started. People of you have requested that I go through the sizes again of the rectangles. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to do my best to post an actual document that shows this as well. For an extra large, you need a 7x9, and it's going to taper to 2 1/4 inches, and we'll get to that. I will explain that. For a medium large, you need a 6x9, and it will taper to 2 inches. For a small, a 5x8, and it will taper to 1 3/4. And then when we get to the children's sizes, 8 to 10, you need a 5x7.5, and that will taper to 1 3/4. For 5 to 7, you need a 5x7.5 rectangle, and it will taper to 1 3/4. And then for children 2 to 4, you need a 4.5x7, and that will taper to approximately 1 5/8 inches. Now, these are approximate sizes, so just know that there is a little bit of give. You have requested that I go through the sizes again of the rectangles. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to do my best to post an actual document that shows this as well. For an extra large, you need a 7x9, and it's going to taper to 2 1/4 inches, and we'll get to that. I will explain that. For a medium large, you need a 6x9, and it will taper to 2 inches. For a small, a 5x8, and it will taper to 1 3/4. And then when we get to the children's sizes, 8 to 10, you need a 5x7.5, and that will taper to 1 3/4. For 5 to 7, you need a 5x7.5 rectangle, and it will taper to 1 3/4. And then for children 2 to 4, you need a 4.5x7, and that will taper to approximately 1 5/8 inches. Now, these are approximate sizes, so just know that there is a little bit of give. But we are going to make a medium large 6x9. So I have my outside fabric, which is very different from my 2 pieces of inside fabric. We want them contrasting again because we want to help them remember which side was touching their face. Very, very important. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, this is what our finished product is going to hopefully look like. I'm going to put that to the side. So we're going to take our 2 pieces. The first one, we're going to fold it in half, completely in half, and press it. Then we're going to take the other half of the back, and I have a serger, so I have just serged the edge. If you don't have a serger, just fold it and fold it again and then stitch it down. All right, now we're going to take the right side of our fabric, place it up. And what I have actually, since I've now been making these, I've learned a few tricks of the trade. So the first thing is we want to make sure that the pocket for the filter is not directly in the center of the face. It'll just feel a little bit more comfortable on the face if you have this to the side as opposed to straight down the middle of your face. So in order to make sure that that happens, we're going to take the serged or turned piece, and I'm going going to fold it over, and if you see, I'm actually making it, I'm going past my center line. So I'm going to fold that down and then iron it. Now I'm going to take the piece that I folded in half, and then I'm going to place it on top. So you want to check and make sure that your overlap is anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inches. If it's wider than that, it's just there's too much of an overlay to get something in there. So I have found that 1 to 1.5 is best. I'm actually have a little bit bigger than that, so I'm just going to take my partially folded and I'm just going to move it over a little bit. And there we go. And the reason why I'm putting the fully folded half on top of the partial is because these are our right sides together, and so now this will ensure that that overlap is going to be to the side of the face as opposed to the center of the face. I'm going to mess with this just a little bit more. Okay, good enough. All right, now I'm just going to put 2 pins in here so that they stay while I'm stitching. So now I'm going to go over to my machine and I'm just going to stitch straight across the top and the bottom at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, or the width of my foot. I'm going to unpin. I'm actually making 2 masks right now. So I'm going to turn this right side out. And right here you can see my stitching. It's just 1/4 of an inch all the way on top, and I'm locking my stitches. It's important to lock your stitches. There we go. All right, turning these right side out, clipping my threads as I go. And sometimes it goes quickly and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, here we go. So I've got them turned right side out, and now I'm going to press it. And if you can see, what I'm doing is I actually like to not push it all the way to the edge. I like to press it flat right there, and then I go on the other side and I press the other side. So basically I'm pressing there and there. Now, because I've done that, it's going to make that seam allowance on the inside behave, basically. And so now we are ensured that we have the full amount of the fabric for the mask. So we're kind of popping out what might normally kind of want to get caught in there. So let me do that really quick on this one as well. I see some threads, so I'm going to have to clip those. Crazy. Okay. So, there we go. So, here's our front. Here's our back with the lap, with the overlap. This one is this fabric, and the overlap is over here. So, we're not in the center of the piece. Okay, now, what we're going to do is we're going to fold this in half and iron again. Don't need these. Okay. And the reason why we have folded those in half is because now we have our center crease for the center of the mask. And this is where, if you have a pattern, you get to decide what's the top and what's the bottom. And I'm gonna make the top of this. So now I'm taking my paper clip, coated paper clip that I have, actually my husband has turned the edges. I think if I put it there, you can see it pretty good. He's curled them so that they're nice and safe now. All right, so I have my center crease, so I'm just laying my safety pin, my paper clip down, and I'm pinning longer than the actual paper clip is though. So it's gonna look like that. So my paper clip is actually shorter than that distance, but we want to make sure that we're not going to hit the paper clip when we're stitching the ends closed. All right, so now I'm going to mark my other one and then make a channel or a tunnel for the paper clip. So I'll be right back. Again, it's just going to be 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the top of the mask. Okay, so I have made my tunnel for my paper clip. Now, I actually made that stitching a little past my 1/4 mark on my machine. It's actually the edge of the fabric was on top of the 1 on the 1/4. Because again, I just want to give a little bit more room to slip that paper clip in. So now that we have that, we're going to take our paper clip and we're literally going to go through our, actually you don't have to go through that, your ends are open. You're going to go through, I'm used to the elastic ones, and you're going to just slide it into your little tunnel there. So now it's in there. So now what I'm going to go do is stitch here and here so that it can't slip out.